and good night. I am coming to you at a different time than normal. Usually I come during the daytime, but I had quite the busy week and I wanted to get on here because I attended an absolutely wonderful seminar and I realized that there was an opportunity for some advocacy for people that may not know about other options that are available to them for immigration relief. So you may have heard me talking quite a bit about VAWA options. And a VAWA option, just to recap, is if you are married to a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, or you have a child who is 21 years and up and is also a citizen, and you may have entered the United States illegally, or you may have may have multiple exits and entries into the United States, or you might have other issues that would normally require you to leave this country so that you could fix your papers and come back into the United States. But VAWA is this fantastic tool that allows you to fix all of your papers while you remain here with your family and you don't have to go anywhere. Now that's all fine and good, but it is prefaced by the requirement that you have to be married or recently divorced within 2 years to either a permanent resident or to a citizen. And in many cases, a person might be in an abusive relationship or a tumultuous relationship, or some sort of family problems may occur, but the person who is doing that to them, for lack of a better word, the abuser, isn't necessarily a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. So now do we have another option? And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because I feel like there isn't enough information out there about this amazing tool called T-visas. Long ago, when I was a law student and I was bushy-tailed and bright-eyed, I wanted to go into trafficking. I had heard about it, I had read about it, I had done a lot of research about it, and I knew as much as I possibly could without actually working on those cases. So I had the very good fortune of meeting a prominent international human rights scholar and attorney by the name of Sharif Bassioni, who very kindly took me under his wing and had me work within the International Human Rights Institute. And my very first assignment with them was to translate hundreds of documents and testimony of hundreds upon hundreds of women and children who had been trafficked. What does it mean to be trafficked? It means to be sold or to be put in some sort of position in which they have to repay their captors. Sometimes it's literally captors and sometimes it's exactly like in quotes, their captors for some sort of favor that they may have done for them. Many of you may have heard about sex trafficking, but a lot of times you will also see it in labor trafficking. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail so you understand how this may pertain to a day-to-day situation that you're not fully aware that you actually even have immigration relief. So I was able to work on these, and then we were able to submit them and present them to the Latin American Council for Human Rights, which was a huge, huge deal because it was the first time that any group of countries was willing to investigate within themselves for their own human rights violations, specifically with trafficking. And that was kind of my first taste, and from that day until today, I have been committed 100% to pursuing this field and to doing what I can to defend people that may be victims of trafficking. So I tell you all of this because there are other less outlandish and Hollywood style kind of stories out there. Sometimes when you hear about trafficking, you hear about the really egregious ones, which are obviously terrible as well. And then you don't realize that there are other smaller versions of that that may also qualify you for a T visa. Now, the example that I have for you is, let's say that you get married to somebody and you are sitting in Pakistan or in India or in the Middle East or in Mexico or Honduras or wherever it might be, and you meet a guy, and I'm going to use gender pronouns, but it can be for both men or for women. So in this case, it's a woman, she meets a guy, she thinks she likes him, they agree that they're going to get married. Now, they don't know a whole lot about each other, but they, through their families or through their friends or whatever, they broker this relationship and they decide to get married. The marriage may take place in another country or it may take place here in the United States. Either way, you know, she's coming in, she's like a new bride, and she thinks that everything is going to be great and that she has this, you know, wonderful chance at an American dream, and she also got her Prince Charming, and everything's going to be great. And then she goes to the house and she finds out that essentially she's being relegated to kind of a Cinderella role. Like she has to cook and she has to clean and she has to maintain the home and she's scrubbing the floors and she's cleaning up all the mess and she's got in-laws that are living with her suddenly and she has to cater to all of them and she has to take care of her elderly father-in-law and she's not allowed to leave. And you know, when she comes, the husband says, you know, let me just safeguard all of your papers. I'll just take your passport and your identifying documents and I'll put them in a safe, in a really safe place. And whenever you need them, you can ask me. But lo and behold, whenever she asks for them, she never gets them. Or she can't get her own income. So suddenly the spouse is telling her, you know, you need to work. And you need to work because I paid an X amount of money for you to come in, and now I need that money to be repaid to me in some way. So she then is put up in a hotel to clean rooms, or in a local restaurant that is owned by one of his friends, or in a gas station or convenience center, or whatever it might be. Or maybe she's being lent out to other friends to clean their homes or to do other favors for these friends. Whatever it might be, the money is not coming to her anymore, but it's going directly to either her spouse or to her in-laws or to a friend or wherever it might be, but she herself no longer has monetary control. Do you see how very slowly her self-autonomy and her independence and her control of the situation has been eroded? And it's done in a very insidious manner. So you don't even realize what's happening. Like the people that I speak to, and again, like I said, it can be men or women. In this case, I gave you an example of a woman, but it can also be men. And they don't even realize it's happening at the time because they're kind of caught up in this fairy tale fantasy, like, oh, I'm getting married, I'm in a romantic relationship. And it doesn't have to be marriage. You know, I'm a boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, this person loves me so much. Of course I would do whatever I want to make him happy or her happy. And lo and behold, you've now been trapped because now you no longer have your personal documents to identify yourself. You no longer have your financial autonomy, so you cannot leave. You are essentially both mentally and physically trapped in a location. And many times they don't have driver's license, they cannot move, they can't leave, they don't know other people, they might not even have a cell phone, or if they have a cell phone, it's being monitored by the person that they're with. All of these are indications when somebody comes to me and I start asking them questions and I start thinking, all right, what else could you be, you know, eligible for in terms of an immigration relief? And all of a sudden the light bulbs will go off, and when I start asking these questions, lo and behold, we will find out that you might qualify for a T visa. And what does that mean? It means that you have a life-changing opportunity to not only stay within the United States, but eventually for you to get your green card, for you to get a work permit, for you to get the therapy that you desperately need, because people that are within the T visa world, there are so many resources available to you, and I will connect you to amazing therapists to get you back to that place of empowerment that you missed in the months or the years that you were with this person. So that's just one example, but I want to throw it out here because I had, you know, years ago, I had a case that to this day haunts me. And it was a case of a woman who was from Ghana, and she was married to another man also from Ghana, same village, and they were very, you know, family friends. They knew each other for a long time. Everything seemed great. The families loved each other. Everything was fantastic. They came to the United States. He came on a student visa, and then he brought her as well. I think they had about 4 children together, so they brought all their children together, and then things just took a turn. She said that he had always had a temper and he always had issues, but when they came to the United States, that temper escalated to such a point that she had visible bruises when I saw her, and deathly afraid of what he was capable of, and would speak in coded messages, and really just the sweetest woman, but unbelievably scared. And despite me telling her that she qualified because there were other things that made her qualify. She just could not wrap her head around the possibility that she could actually break the cycle and that she could actually be free of him. So she moved in a fit of rage, really, essentially because her life was in danger. She left her home and she went to a shelter with all of her children. She stayed there maybe about 2 weeks. Somehow he convinced her to come back, and I lost complete touch with her. I have, to this day, have no idea what happened to her. And it haunts me, not only because I know the severity of the abuse that she was enduring, but also that she was not at a place yet to accept that there was any other life out there for her. And she could not understand that she deserved more, or that she really did have options, and that she didn't have to be deported, and she could get immigration relief, and she had all these people that were willing to help her. All she had to do was just take that first step. So I tell it to you. You don't have to have this egregious domestic abuse situation like I'm talking about. It can be a situation of control. It can be that you are unwilling or unable to leave in some way. If that seems like something that you can identify with, or it seems like something that you're thinking, hey, I think my friend might actually qualify for this, give our office a call, 630-504-0648. Everything that we do is completely confidential, obviously. Anything that you say to me will never ever leave the confines of our office. You are free to get this legal help. It is available to you, so use it. And the same thing applies if you are working and you are working in a job the same way. So let's say that somebody brought you in on a job to work as a nanny, or to work as a domestic worker, or to work on a farm, to work on a blueberry farm or a fruit farm, or to till the crops or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden you realize, hey, this is not what I signed up for. They told me they were going to be paying me $100 a day, and I'm barely making $100 a month. Or they told me I was only going to be working, in the mornings, but I'm actually working from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. or whatever it might be. Or I haven't seen a paycheck in the last 3 weeks, and yet I am still being forced to work, or I'm never allowed to call in sick, or I got injured on the job and they still made me work on that injury. All of those are potential red flags for TVs as well. So again, my name is Farah Kazi. I have an immigration law firm in Chicago. I handle cases all over the country. I absolutely love working on human rights cases, on family-based cases, on cases that involve trafficking. Please give our office a call if you think that you know somebody, or that you yourself might identify with some of these things. Go through all of our old videos, see if anything that we've talked about in the past resonates with you, and give our office a call, 630-504-0648. Have a wonderful night and a great weekend. Thanks. Bye.